SummerSlam podcast.
Ho ho ho.
Well,
sort of.
no, it's not ho 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 anymore. It's Happy New Year is what it is.
Yeah. Well, we haven't done one since Survivor Series.
Yeah, so it's been a couple of months.
So Christmas has come and gone. New Year's has come and gone by 48 hours.
Yeah.
So hi.
Hello. We hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and a great New Year. Mm-hmm. Ours was kind of a mixed bag of up and downs with COVID screwing plans up here, there, and everywhere.
Anything really.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, all the stuff we did plan, most of it didn't happen.
Yeah, there was things cancelled, people ill. You didn't know what pubs were going to be open and not. So
yeah.
It was just like, well, okay.
Yeah.
So
it was a mixed bag. But yes, we hope you all had a good holiday. And I suppose we've got to kick off with the first pay-per-view of the year, Day 1, which is apparently going to be the norm. They're doing Day 1 all the time.
I don't know, because I thought going forward, obviously next year, New Year's Day will be a Sunday, so they can do that. But going forward from that, it will be like a weekday. That's what
I thought. It's like, well, it's going to be different every single
year.
Day
2 or some shit like that. Or change it back to a pay-per-view they used to have called New Year's Revolution, because it's the same premise.
That keeps it simple.
But yeah, that was that. I'm sorry, I have a feeling there might have been some deaths within the wrestling business, but I cannot remember off the top of my head. The latest one I know has nothing to do with wrestling. No. She might have been on Raw, actually, saying that. It's Betty White.
Yes, Betty White dying on the last day of 2021.
And 2 weeks before her 100th birthday.
Yeah.
She
almost got a letter from the Queen.
Yeah, but she was cool. I always
everybody loved Betty White. You can't not. She was... her personality was very intoxicating.
She reminded me a lot of Mae Young's personality. Of like, I might be old, but I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, I may comment on... we got the YouTube thing, which we'll go to in a minute. I may comment on the YouTube thing if I remember who in the wrestling business has died. I have a feeling it might be a relatively big one. But apologies, I can't remember it at the minute. But you want to do your thing?
Yes, like and share and subscribe. Find us on all the socials. Find us on all the podcast stuff, except for Spotify, because once again, I still haven't sorted it out because I've been busy, doing Christmas and all that kind of stuff. It's on all the podcasts: Google's podcast, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Apple Music, YouTube, obviously, and a couple of others as well. Just click the links, Angle Slam Podcast. You'll find us pretty much anywhere.
We've been around for a few years now.
Yes, and it's time to review Day 1.
Right. From, again, as normal, we'll review it, do the stars at the end. But from a opening point of view, I was actually quite happy with it. It wasn't a bad show.
I've had worse shows, I would say. I wouldn't go out there and say that it was amazing.
No.
But there was nothing really, really, really bad. There was stuff in it that was just boring or pointless or just felt a little bit house showy or just felt like a bit like a Friday Night SmackDown in places. But there was nothing I look back and go, God, that really was damaging that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I think the problem recently is that the measuring stick keeps changing so frequently now to the point on WWE's side, it's so kind of like appalling most of the time that when they do something good, it's a pleasant surprise.
That's the thing. The bar is so low for WWE at the moment. So when something non-damaging happens, we all kind of condition go, well that was all right. That went well. If in all honesty, if you looked at that 10 years ago, you'd go, nah, it's still crap. Yeah, but we're thinking it's all right because of how bad it's been over the last couple of years.
It's almost a condescending, thank fuck, you did something right for a change. But then you've got...
It's like being in an abusive relationship. It's just like the one day they don't...
Oh, he didn't punch me.
Yeah, the one time they didn't hit me around the face is the time they... Oh, it's a good day.
But when they do that was a really good match, AEW bring the measuring stick in and be like, oh, it was really good, but still nothing compared to what their calibre is. Yeah. So it swings and roundabouts. But so I didn't watch the pre-show match.
We never do we? Really?
I did think maybe because I like Cesaro, like Ricochet, but it was again, even though I'm not as up to date with Raw SmackDown as I should be, it felt thrown together.
Was it Rich Holland?
Rich Holland,
he got injured.
Sheamus. Yeah, when they did the flashback, he looked like he got hurt.
He apparently broke his nose.
Yeah.
So he had to be taken away, which right move. And then the only thing that was a bit weird about it is the fact that after that it was like Sheamus fighting back for the win, and I was like, but he's a heel. And these guys are faces. Surely, that if you should all call an audible, change it on the fly, and either have those guys win, or if Sheamus is going to win, have him cheat to win. Because otherwise, it just feels weird that he's beating the faces in like a comeback thing by himself.
Possibly, unless they're trying to get over his dominance, which on one side it's like, well, if we knew where you were going with this, or there was an idea of where you're going for this, what's going on with Sheamus? So there might be something for Sheamus in the pipeline for them to do that. But the way they described it was like, okay, unfair advantage to Cesaro and Ricochet, unplanned, as we know, because Ridge got hurt. So they go, he took Ricochet out with the white noise. But the problem with watching it as a replay, we don't know if that was straight after the Ridge Holland thing, so Ricochet was out and it became a one-on-one, or if it was near the end. I got the vibe it was near the end. And then, he got the bro kick from Cesaro and won.
I mean, from what I saw from the highlights, it was fine. The only downside is that Cesaro's on a pre-show. Considering the fact that he was going for the Universal Championship and he beat Seth at WrestleMania, and we thought that, again, we bought into the fact stupidly that we thought they were going to do something with him. And he just proves it once again now. They'll just call on people when they're needed and then chuck them back down the card when they don't.
I know Cesaro and Sheamus had a random match on SmackDown a few weeks ago. I couldn't tell you who won. But with what's happened now, I wouldn't mind them for long-term storytelling, and even by accident. If a few years ago, before they even became the Bar, they were having a best-of-7 series.
Yeah, and originally when that kicked in, none of us were interested. But by the end of it...
But the seventh match,
we were like, fuck.
They kicked the shit out of each other, and it became a draw. All it takes is Cesaro to go out like, we never resolved that. Why don't we resolve it at WrestleMania? Yeah. And I'd like to see Sheamus and Cesaro kick the shit out of each other again. I think, again, a lot of arguments would be like, it's been done, and we saw it on SmackDown. I was like, yeah, but with the right story, it could become something. But yeah, that happened. So when we kick off, it kicks off with the announcement that was made at midnight our time on Twitter.
Yeah.
That Roman Reigns is COVID positive.
So that means that the main event, or what we assume was going to be the main event, is cancelled. Lesnar and Reigns is not going ahead. I didn't know about this until I actually started watching the pay-per-view because I watched it the following morning. So that means that we thought, I'd assume that it'd be off.
Oh yeah, I just thought they'd extend all the matches on the card and that.
But no, they just kind of threw a random curveball in and added Lesnar into the Fatal 4-Way to make it a Fatal 5-Way for the WWE Championship.
In some cases, it makes no sense at all. In others, I suppose it does.
Yeah, I suppose we'll just get to it later on when we get to it. But it's a weird one. It
was almost like when the graphic came up, I was the only kind of a level of excitement I had was like, shit, this is like a game you'd make on a match you make on your video game. This is almost fantasy warfare here.
Yeah.
And then you see those 5 people in one match, you think, well, this is going to be good actually. So, but anyway, yeah, like I say, that was main event. So we kick off with the SmackDown tag titles.
Yes. Now, for the last few times that these guys have gone against each other, I have not been remotely interested, purely based on the fact that we've seen it so many times. I've lost count how many times the Usos have gone against the New Day. It's got to be pushing 30 by this point, at least.
Yeah.
So, again, I just didn't really care in this match. But they still proved that they can still have a good match. It was, for me, this match was it was definitely a 3-parter. The first part was boring, and I was like, "Oh, are they about to have the first stinker? This is going to happen." Then the middle picked up a little bit. Okay, it's getting a bit of traction, and then the last bit was all bells and whistles, and it went mad, and it was good fun and spots here and there and all that. And so, yeah, by the end of it, I was like, "Yeah, okay, they still put on a decent match, given the fact that we've seen it a million times."
It took me on a ride, I'll admit, because I know what you mean by seeing them a million times, but back in the Attitude Era, it was always like every other Raw SmackDown was either Hardys versus Dudleys or Dudleys versus Edge and Christian or Hardys versus Edge and Christian. And that was almost on a weekly basis. And I know it was like, we could say a different era, but it always kind of kept the audience like interested because they were good teams. So I went in this with the same kind of like, okay, they're going again, but with that attitude of like, this is a long rivalry and they can go. But when, like I say, the match opened the first third, I was like, this is like, why wasn't this on the pre-show?
Yeah, that's what it felt like at the start. I was like, I'm bored here.
I was a little bit like, what happened to New Day's theme song? You know, because I know Big E can't be the whole, and all that every now and then he does it, but now he can't. But it just came with this new Xavier Woods, theme song. It just felt a little bit generic and not as exciting. But anyway, the match side, so the first third, it was just a load of the Usos just throwing the one finger up every now and then, which I don't know if it was intentionally meant to annoy me or not, but it was. I was like, I get it. You're the bad guys.
Yeah, but I think they're also pushing the fact that the pay-per-view is called Day One, and they had their Day One-ish like slogan a while back.
Yeah.
So I think maybe they were just kind of pushing with that, and again to annoy you. So they did what it did.
Yeah, and then it kind of went up a gear where I was kind of like, oh right, okay, this is actually getting a bit of momentum now. But I was thinking in my head, like, are they just relying too much on the near falls here? So I just thought, okay, and by the end of it, it turns out they were, but damn did they make it work. To the point that I was with the crowd like, I don't believe this. They are going for this here. And possibly, I think it's out of 2, possibly match of the night for me.
I mean, it could have been if that first third wasn't so
Yeah,
big.
It was just a slow build.
Yeah, it was too much of a slow build. It was so blatantly obvious with it being in 3 pieces, it became obvious, and it shouldn't be. It should flow more naturally.
There was a couple of maybe not missteps, but those where you could tell the moves didn't connect properly.
Yeah, I think it was when they did a double kick in the corner to one of the Usos, and Kofi didn't get his foot there.
Kind of a weird clothesline where Jimmy was already going down.
Yeah, he didn't hit it properly.
But to their credit now, I'm glad maybe not all commentators, but Pat McAfee, he will call it out. Bit of off balance there, get all of it.
This is why I like him. This is why I like him, because once again, he doesn't have Vince shouting down his ear saying, say this, so it's not overproduced and over obvious what he's going to say next, like Adam Cole and Graves and anybody else. Pat McAfee can literally just say what he wants, and that's what it should always be, because it's more natural, it's more earthy, it just works better.
He's not treating us like stupid, because if he'd gone, oh wow, what a clothesline, I'd be sitting there going, no.
9 times out of 10, whenever Cole's commentating, I think, I know what he's going to say next.
Yeah.
And he does, and he says it 99% of the time, I know what he's going to go for. Pat McAfee, I don't know what he's going to say, and that's what keeps it interesting.
Yeah, some of the stuff he said, I think even on this pay-per-view, I was kind of like, that felt a bit flat, Pat. That wasn't funny, or something like that.
Yeah, but even if it wasn't funny, at least it was natural.
Yeah, of course. He's trying stuff, and you got to risk falling flat on your face every now and then. But yeah, I thought it was a great opener, but just slow to get going.
So Usos retain.
Usos retain with a 3D.
Yes, I forgot to mention that. I think I remember saying to the missus as well, if they're going to start using that in their Arsenal more, please do, because I love 3D. I think it's a great finisher.
But Pat, I don't know if he was just dicking around. He was like, oh, it's the 1D. I was like, okay. Day 1D, okay.
I didn't even say that.
Maybe that can work, but the 3D stood for Dudley Death Drop.
Yeah.
If the Usos are going to adopt it, if they want 1D, what does it stand for? Like
1 day.
Because they had the 1 day-ish thing. Or can they come up with another thing? I don't know. But yeah, it was cool to think like, they've done the splash things, New Day have done their double team thing. What's going to put away? 3D out of nowhere. Awesome. Fucking great. Yeah. But yeah, so Usos still tag champs. Second was what I would have considered the piss break match, but was on quite early. It was Riddick Moss versus Drew McIntyre.
No, Madcap Moss.
It's Madcap Moss. Yeah. See, this is how out of the loop I'm out. Out the loop.
I'm out the loop as well.
Yeah,
I was like, even Sarah went, who the hell's that? I was like, it's a guy called Madcap Moss. He's with Corbin. I don't know. He's just something crap.
That was the first time I've heard of Corbin's new Happy Corbin character and that stuff, and I knew this guy was with him, but this was the first time I'd seen him in a live capacity, because I'd already ever seen him in clips.
Same. I've been not watching clips. So,
now, if it wasn't for the fact that they had to obviously extend the match lengths because the main event had to be cancelled, I genuinely thought with the way the open promo, Corbin and Moss saying these really terrible jokes, they're meant to be.
I know they're meant to be shit, but they're not like dad jokes where you're like, oh, that's so crap, but it's brilliant. It's just shit.
It's embarrassing.
And it's annoying. It's like your really crap uncle trying to get in on a joke, and it's not landing because he's not cool. That's what it feels like to me.
The only one that worked, because it was a genuinely heel tactic, was when they said Atlanta was the biggest city here. Didn't know they went by weight.
Yeah, but I didn't even find that funny. But no, it's not. God, really? It's like such a childhood kind of bullying, like, oh, they're fat.
But it's
hilarious.
It's very old school heel of like, regardless of if it's a good joke or not, attack the city you're in to get the views, and then when the face comes, they're the hero to like shut the fuck up. So Drew comes out, and I just kept thinking like, if this wasn't like, it's probably been given a bit more time because of the main event fiasco. I really think it would have had the bell ring, Claymore, good night, and just been a full-on squash match.
Could have been.
But they had not a long match. They had a match, and it didn't like drop my jaw. But it showed that this Madcap is not too bad.
No, I mean, I don't think he's bad. He flowed quite nicely. I didn't see any kind of missteps of going in his work. He sat in there with Drew fine.
Held his own, yeah.
It was just that the match was just... It just felt like just a SmackDown match. Just a normal SmackDown match. Nothing, any kind of real stakes. Nothing of real any significance. It was always going to go the way it was going to go. We were always going to get 3-2-1 Claymore.
Yeah, it was to put Drew on the card more than anything else.
Probably.
And maybe also give this Madcap guy a shot. All right, let's see what you can do. And a lot of his reactions or the way he landed, he could take a bump. Well. And he sold the Claymore like, he'd just been hit by a fucking plane. So, but I think everyone knew that the only way Madcap would have won is if Baron Corbin had got involved. Yeah,
I thought maybe for a second that maybe he might do that, but
no,
it seems silly to have Drew lose to someone we don't really know yet.
With the Royal Rumble fast approaching and WrestleMania, it was obviously there to give Drew momentum going into those shows. Yeah. So, Drew wins that, and it was, again, the match that was just there.
It happened.
Third match was the Raw Tag Titles. RK-Bro versus the Street Profits.
Yeah, we predicted the Street Profits here because...
so did I.
And I went for Street Profits on the fact that obviously they're building up to an RK-Bro split eventually. So, and I don't generally know which way they're going to go. Like, the normal weird thing would be that Randy turns on Riddle.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things like going around in the room a bit at the moment that maybe they might go the opposite way and turn Riddle against Randy, because Randy's getting a lot of like good kind of face buzz at the minute. And their team is working great, but I think they're building up towards them going at it at Mania. So I thought maybe this would be the first misstep where Randy fucks up or Riddle fucks up and costs the match and loses the titles. Then they get really angry and all this kind of stuff. They don't necessarily break up there and then, but they'll break up on following Raw or something like that. You can just see the frustration in whoever it is that's going to turn heel. So that's why I went for the Street Profits. And the fact that the Street Profits are an actual tag team.
Yeah, I think my original theory going in, as far as what the match went, the match was good. I don't think it was as good as the SmackDown tag titles, but very serviceable.
It was a serviceable match. It was enjoyable. They had all their good spots. Ford going over the corner. That was fun. I really enjoyed that. They all know how to do their job. Even the finish as well with a pop up from Riddle and then into an RKO for the win.
Well, that was the key word of the whole match. It was fun. And that's what it's meant to be.
And I think with RK-Bro, that's what I'm expecting out of their matches. It doesn't have to be world class, but I just want to come back out of this entertained, and they're able to do it because their chemistry is so good.
When RK-Bro came out and whoever the band were that had the theme song for that thing, I can't remember what they're called now, but I just remember the announcer going, the greatest group in the world.
Yeah.
I was saying, like,
I don't even know who you are.
A self-proclaimed nickname, or who the fuck are you?
Yeah, I don't even know who you are.
You just three
You can't just say you're the best in the world. Look at, like...
Unless you're in the wrestling business and it's a smug thing to say.
That's a smug thing to say, but when you're in the music business, all you are is Kanye West 2.0, thinking you're Jesus when you're not. What you need is mental freaking help.
Yeah, it's like when Floyd Mayweather used to say it. It was quite early on. I'm like, are you though? How dare you put yourself above Ali? Then the more he thought, it was like, well, he's undefeated. He might have a point. but yeah, if you can't back it up and no one knows who the fuck you are, it just seemed like a very cheap pop.
It was a cheap pop. So that was the only kind of asterisk to this match, is that they brought those rapper guys down and had them there, and it was just like a cheap pop. It was a shit marketing thing.
As soon as they came out supporting RK-Bro, I just thought, I think I've lost the point here, because I just don't see RK-Bro losing with the celebrity endorsement.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I thought the same.
So, but I did go in thinking, I might be wrong. So when the match went on, I was going in thinking, if the Street Profits do win, I can see it being potentially a Riddle pinfall. Orton's like, oh, God, okay, you did your best, picks him up, and then RK owes him. Because the momentum is so good for RK-Bro at the minute. Why not suddenly for the fans pull the rug out from under them? Like, what the fuck happened? And
they're going to build to it. It needs to be. I think it's a very hard thing to do. Either you've got to pull the rug from under him, like you say, and going, holy shit, he did it quick.
Because I thought this is the time, because no one was expecting it.
Or you've got to build it up so perfectly, like they did with Jericho and KO all of those years ago.
Yeah.
We knew what was going to happen. We knew KO was going to turn on him. Yeah. But they built it so perfectly that when it happened, we were like, oh shit, it's now. This is the thing. You've got those two options, but you have to execute them so well.
I want it to be like, even if you think, oh, it's they're going to break up, but probably not for another couple of months. Really just like hits in the side and go, no, we're doing it now. I want it to be like literally surprise the hell out of me. So if that had happened, Orton RKO would have solidified to the fans like, oh, he was using him the entire time. Now they haven't got the Raw tag titles. He's done. But as the match went on, I was like, I just had the two words out of nowhere go through my head of like, what if Riddle suddenly does it now? Because no one will see that coming.
That's the thing.
Irony is out of nowhere.
These rumours are something I'm quite coming around to.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, Randy is the obvious choice to turn heel because he is good as a heel. But we don't know Riddle as a heel. Not really.
I'd like to see it.
And I know he was a little bit aggressive in NXT at a certain point. I think it wasn't really a heel run, but there was an aggressive kind of thing.
Side,
but he never full on turned heel. I'd be up for seeing it. And it's something, like you said, that will really shock you if it happens.
I think it'd be worse, like... there's no like authority figure in I mean, there's Adam Pearce, but there's no like follow like how Triple H and Steph were at the minute. But if Matt's character remained the same, but you work for the bad guy, I think that would annoy the fans more. That he's still the whole, oh come on, you do the exact same thing. Like fuck you, Woodby. No. But yeah, I just thought, wow, if Orton just turns to go to an RKO and runs into a knee by Riddle, everyone would just be like, what the fuck and whatnot. But no, they haven't pulled the trigger yet. So the match ends with RK-Bro getting the victory, and then there's the show respect at the end. By
yes,
tag
which
team,
I like.
Yeah, it's nice to see that every now and then. Of
yes,
like, no,
absolutely.
we just came in,
kick shit out of each other
to do a match.
Fair play, see you later.
So yeah, still Raw Tag Champs, RK-Bro. Next was Miz versus Edge.
Yeah. Now
I don't
this
know what
match,
to say
like this feud thing. I wasn't really interested in it, purely in the fact that all the names that Edge rattled off earlier when he came back saying that he wanted to work with, Miz wasn't on that list. So I was just like, why is this happening? Like, Miz is like a veteran that's been there for quite a while. I want Edge to come back and start working with people that he's barely worked with.
I do as well.
You know what I mean? But it's blatantly obvious with what has happened here that it might be a one and done.
Possibly.
But unless they go for this mixed gender tag thing.
Honestly, I'd rather, if that does happen, I'd rather see that at the Royal Rumble and have Edge in a one-on-one match at WrestleMania against one of the big names.
Yeah, like AJ. I think AJ is like the one I want him to go against the most of me.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was kind of semi-interested in the story. To be honest, with everything that's been going on at WWE, that was the only storyline I thought I'll keep an eye on here. Because, yes, okay, Miz wasn't on Edge's list, and he's not, like, one of the main event players at the minute, or not a legend yet. But even watching his match, I was like, yeah, you can just rely on Miz. He's that guy that will do what he needs to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not taking anything away from the match itself or their abilities. It just seemed a bit of a weird one to put together.
I think, hopefully, touch wood, it was a good call by someone backstage as kind of like, obviously they have to throw it by Vince, or it might have even been Vince's idea, but probably not, to go to Edge like, right, what do you think about working with The Miz? Because I kind of feel bad for Miz at the minute because they kind of wasted his money in the bank thing and quickly gave him the WWE title purely to him to drop it to somebody else. And then he loses his partner Morrison, so it's like he's going to be lost in the shuffle if we're not careful. He deserves better than that, and you can put him over. Obviously, he could have put him over with a victory, but it didn't happen that night. But I was thinking, all right, why? Because I went for Miz on my predictions, because I thought, one of the main reasons Edge is back is to put the younger talent over. Why can't that be Miz?
But he's not one of the younger talent.
He's not younger as in like, he's
been there since 2008.
Yeah, but you could say that about like when Edge won the Royal Rumble. Like, did he need it?
No, I suppose he didn't. Yeah, Yeah.
So out of the two of them, I think Miz would have benefited more with the victory than Edge. I think that's my point.
Yeah,
absolutely. But we went in and I thought the story's okay. You know, Miz,
it's a fine story.
Maurice is brought back into it. And
they do the fake wedding with the bloodbath and Bischoff is there for some strange reason.
Yeah, I don't know why Bischoff. I think the whole point of this whole story was to go, Miz is still about, Maurice is back, we're reintroducing this dynamic into it.
Yeah.
And it just so happens by the end of the match, we're bringing Beth into it as well.
Yes, and I did like when they brought Beth in. She's looking good.
I just didn't get the entrance because it was like the crowd already saw something, and I just was like, "It's going to be Beth," and then she's just there looking like a badass bitch. Like, I'm going to.
She looked like a badass Viking biker chick, and she looked awesome.
But it wasn't until she was almost halfway down the ramp and the music kicked in.
That is a misstep.
If Maurice had done what she did,
Kevin Dunn with his big teeth screwing it up again.
If Maurice had done what she did, because as far as how the match went, the match was. Again, not bad, but not jaw-dropping.
Yeah, it was a good match. It was a serviceable match, but yeah, it didn't light me on fire.
Standard pay-per-view, I'd say,
yeah.
And I don't mean that as a knock at all.
No.
It was, it did what it needed to do, and I will admit when Maurice hit Edge with the handbag, which must be full of bricks as far as I'm concerned, if it's meant to be a weapon. When Miz hit the skull crush, I thought that was it.
That was it. I genuinely thought, right, Miz has got this then because this is the way that he wins.
Yes.
He's not going to do this on a natural way. It's going to be shenanigans.
So the kick-out surprised me, and I thought, if you want to continue my surprise while Maurice is up there, just kick in with Beth's music, and then everyone just like, oh, what the fuck? But the fact that you had to give it like 60 seconds and wait for Beth to
There must have been a miscommunication.
I think so as well.
Like I said, there was a little bit of a delay. Then she came out. Then there was more of a delay. Then the music hit. I just felt like something was going on in the truck, and
something went. There was a bit like that right before the main event. I think they did the pre-show replay, and then the screen went black and mine for about 3 seconds. It just suddenly went back to the commentator. It's almost like, oh, we're back. Right. Something was going tits up, but. Yeah, so Beth chases Maurice off, which gives Miz, distracts Miz, gives Edge the opportunity to spear him. Good night. And it's obviously building to, well, not obviously, but it looks like they're building to a mixed tag scenario.
I don't mind having the mixed tag thing, but in all honesty, I'd rather see it on, are they on Raw or SmackDown?
They're on Raw.
I'd rather just see it on Raw.
But like a main event. Let's say, I'd rather, if they're going to do it the Rumble, not WrestleMania.
No, not WrestleMania. No, he needs to be doing a one-on-one with someone new.
Yeah, so the match happens. I did like. I didn't know. I wasn't expecting it, but I was kind of half surprised by it. So the Brood entrance again. I just thought you only did the one Brood bath. You hadn't really brought Brood Edge into this story.
Are they doing this as his normal entrance?
That's what I was thinking. I
didn't think that's the case. I thought that they did it at SummerSlam to.
Because
he really scared.
Well, he dove into his Brood character for that story.
Yeah.
Where with Miz, it was purely just the one Brood bath, and that was it. So I was kind of like, I would have been okay with just Metalingus.
Yeah, I don't really want him to do the Brood thing all the time because it becomes not as special.
I agree, but I still was like, this is fucking cool still.
It is cool, but it will use its shine if they do it every single time. I think this stuff is saved for big 4 pay-per-views.
Yes, I agree. I mean, at SummerSlam, I loved the shot that it was almost like looking up as he came through the fire and smoke. With this, it was almost like dead on. And the lighting was just his teeth and the shades as all that red and smoke was around him. I was like, this is a cool entrance. So, again, one side's like, why wouldn't you do it? The other side is for the reasons exactly.
Just not go overboard.
So, and I think Edge won his last match against Seth. So that was another thing to me of like, you got to start getting some losses in to put the talent over because you're not going to be here much longer. A couple of years at most. Yeah. So Edge wins that. Next was the Raw Women's Championship.
Yes, Becky versus Liv. Didn't care about the match going in because. Although I like Becky as a heel, the big time Becky seems to be working. She's cheating to win all the time at the moment, so I had no qualms about thinking it would be the same case here. I do like Liv. I think she's got a lot of potential. She's proven that she's becoming a better wrestler. This is definitely one of her best matches to date.
Yeah.
But she still needs promo work. Definitely.
I personally she's wrestling work.
She's getting over with the crowd. As this babyface, this resilient character, this heartfelt character, and that's working.
Yes.
And like I say, I do think this was her best match today, and I do think she is definitely getting better at the wrestling side of things because she's given more chance to shine. So being put into a match like this is a chance for her to do that. I think they had a reasonable match, but it wasn't, as Becky would say, straight fire. You know what I mean? It was fine, it was good, and I was sitting there going, you know what, Liv's not out of place here. I didn't look at it going, she's botching here, it's not really working for me. I was going, it works, this is working as a pay-per-view, as a show, like, as this moment, but it just, I don't know what it was just something missing, like an X factor to make me go, holy shit.
This was, I will admit, it wasn't until about the second half I started properly paying attention to it, to the point, not, like we said at the start, there wasn't really a bad match on the card that night, but if I had to put one at the bottom, it would probably be this one. Purely because I don't know what it is with Liv. Because I agree with you. I was looking at it thinking all these things of like, the story is working. Becky's putting herself over as a heel, which helps Liv more as more of a face and the underdog you want to go for. And Liv's not doing too bad with it either.
Yeah.
But everything still, to me, screams green about her. To the point that, even though I thought if they're going to put the belt on her, now's the time, as good as the moment would be, and the fans like elated, and she did it, then what? Because I think the fans are in that difficult position, as probably the company are, of as good as she is, she's not championship material yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think it's quite time for it.
No.
However, if you keep building her the way that you are over the next month, you could have a win the Rumble.
It's a maybe, yeah.
If you build her right, because you're doing okay with her at the minute, if you keep doing it, you could have that outfit thing of winning the Rumble and telling Becky, I'm coming for you one more time.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm ready.
Yeah, I think if they did that, this match at Mania would need some sort of stipulation. Just to not
spice
keep
it up.
it
Bit of no
stale.
DQ or something like that.
Yeah, I think you need the story to build enough with Liv to like, just keep going, keep trying. Don't let it bring you down. And then it happens. Because, again, that's the other thing with Liv. No offence to her. If she'd won that night and they would be going into WrestleMania with her as champion, what's going to sell more tickets on the banner?
Yeah,
Becky Lynch's name or Liv's?
Yeah, and the thing, who does Liv go against at Mania? The whole point of the story is her to overcome someone, not for her to stop someone from taking the title from her, because then that would just end up being one of the throwaway matches on the Mania card.
That was the thing with when they thrown the Raw title on Nikki. It was like, okay, she's not... They put the belt on her for all different reasons, but I didn't see her exactly as an underdog purely because we'd seen what she could do in NXT and in other formats.
And also they put the title on her, so it's like, well, you already told the story way too quickly.
Yeah. It's just kind of, what? But Liv, if she'd won the belt, every match she'd be going into, I'd be still seeing her as the underdog. And how can a champion be the underdog? It sometimes works.
Maybe if you're really going to push with this, and you really want to push with this underdog, resilient character to get to that Mania spot to take out Becky.
Yeah.
She loses the Rumble. She comes in second at the Rumble. Then she goes to the Elimination Chamber, and she only just about wins it.
Yeah,
that's your resiliency, and that's her in. I think that might be a better option.
At the minute, no one knows if the Elimination Chamber is even going ahead. That's the issue.
Point.
So I know, and so the match again. I think rumor has it Becky was the one that pushed WWE to give Liv the chance and have that storyline, which is great. But as good as Liv was, I did see a lot of improvement, a lot more confidence in it.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a lot of moves there where I was just like, you got to be a bit more oomph, and and not as a hesitant. There was a couple of them where I was like, I know she's your friend, and it's meant to be. You're not meant to hurt the other opponent. I'm not saying do that, but this isn't ballet. You've got to really lay them in for people to believe it.
Yeah.
And I just thought there was a bit of lack of that. She did that like
Like
springboard sunset flip thing from the corner,
mm-hmm.
which I thought was great. The only bit that kind of made me think, well, what happened was the ending.
I think that Becky was meant to put her feet on the ropes and she didn't get.
Yeah, she missed the rope.
She weren't close enough.
So there was that fuck up. But then at the end, Liv was screaming, my eyes. So I think when she went obviously Becky caught her in the ropes in the back handle slam, but her hand, I think, was on her face from the ref, so the ref could only see the back of Liv's head. I think the camera should have been back there. I wouldn't be surprised if Becky was eye gouging, which would have made more sense. Hopefully, Liv might mention it on Raw to go like, oh, it might look like Becky beat me clean, but she was gouging my eyes. You see her try for the ropes. She's still, because I will admit, going into the match, thinking the more it went on, like Liv might have got this actually, and I suppose if that's what I'm thinking, they did their job right.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't terrible.
So no, it wasn't terrible. It just, it was.
You can tell there's more to be had out of this story.
Yeah, and it just so happens the other matches before were better. Actually, I think I'll put this match above McIntyre and Madcap because, like I said, that was the piss break match. So it is what it is. So main event.
Yes.
Fatal 5-way.
Yeah. So obviously Lesnar gets added in to this. One annoying thing I will say from the start is the fact that Big E was not the last person to come out.
I did think that.
That annoyed me. Because we're doing it in order. I'm sorry, but you're basically just telling us right now, one, who's going to win, and two, who's more important, by having Lesnar come out last. That really pissed me off.
I understood it as if it would have been a shock value. I think they tried to push it as, I know we've announced it, but this isn't what you expected when you came to day one today. But I thought that with the Usos match, actually. I was thinking the Usos are champions. It's just, it's probably an old school thing, but to me, the champion should come out last because it's almost they get the prestige of being last to the ring and all
Everyone
that stuff.
has to fucking bask in their glory.
Yeah, like the challenger has to be the one to stand there awkwardly waiting for them because they haven't earned the right to come out last. That kind of, just that old school stuff. So it would have been different if they just went, sorry, Roman Reigns tested positive, the match is cancelled.
Yeah.
And they go, all right, fatal 4-way, and then someone went, someone else is entering the match. And then Brock's music hit. It would have made more sense because then it is the literal surprise entrant. So you're not going to do it before Big E comes up, but they can do that way. So yeah, I agree. If anything, I think he should have come out first. Because
you were chucked in last, mate. So yeah,
the music his music always gets the momentum building. So it's like you're kicking off with Brock, and people have to enter the ring, and the first person they see across the ring is Brock Lesnar. It's that whole, in a way, it's to sell Brock even, not that he needs more selling, to sell Brock even more over. Like that whole, when Seth gets in the ring, is he going to be going in gingerly? Yeah. Will Kevin even get in the fucking ring, or just be like, no, I'm fine out here? The one thing, even though they did have altercation, the one thing in the match that I really wanted was just a stare down between him and Lashley.
Yes! I thought that.
But then they did it at the end. Sort of.
A teeny tiny bit. It was alluding to a potential thing going forward.
Yeah, I think that's where they're going forward.
Having said these things, I will say that this match...
it was good.
It was all killer, no filler.
Yeah,
there was just spots, special moves, finishers, God knows, just everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody did their part, but the only thing I would say is that it ended too quickly.
Yeah, I could have gone another 5 minutes.
At least.
Yeah.
They could have just kept doing this and just really gone nuts on it. I think the KO Seth tandem tag thing seems to be working out quite like them as a tag team, really. I think they quite like that. Lashley was showing how dominant he was. Lesnar was showing how dominant he was. The only problem was that Big E was, although he had some good spots near the end and everything, I thought he was going to give a big ending to Lesnar.
Yeah, so did I.
Outside of that, he was just there. And that shouldn't be the case with the WWE Championship. So, having said that, like I said, the match was amazing. There were spots everywhere. Suplexes for all. Going through the barricades when Lesnar got through the barricade. I did really enjoy it. It ended very abruptly.
It's quite difficult from a camera production point of view of those kind of matches of like, where do we put the camera? Because
that's the brilliance of it, isn't it? That's
it's just chaos.
That's it. You want chaos.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, the match starts with Seth and KO. Lesnar's the target. Just go for it. And Lesnar, obviously,
he was like, as soon as he got his last foot in the ring, they just went for him, didn't they?
And he goes Suplex City on him. But every now and then it was like, oh, and Lashley and Big E over here fighting. Suplex. Let's get over here fighting. Like, whoa, okay. So he does that. They managed to... that was it. Big E did go Sally proper clobbered him over the top rope. And I loved that to the point of like, don't genuinely piss Brock off. But Big E was showing like, ain't no fucking slouch
Yeah,
either.
I
can fucking go.
I also love Lashley's spear on Lesnar.
Through the barricade, yeah.
No, not through the barricade.
After the F5,
yeah.
it was like...
As soon as he hit it, I was like, oh!
But that was the point where I thought...
they're going to have a stare down.
He's like, I've F5'd everybody, and Lesnar just turns around and Lashley's there like, you want to try that on me? Like, but he just like... But I understood from the story point of view, like, no, Lashley, pick up on the fact that he's not paying attention. Bang! Spear, kick out. Big E did put... I think it was Lashley to the commentator table.
Yeah, he also finished Lashley off with a big ending, and then he went for a big ending with Lesnar. And I was like, is he going to do this? I was like, and I'm not saying that he was going to pin Lesnar, but I just wanted to see him hit him with the big ending, just for that extra bit of power. Yeah. And that's where I was a little bit... But this is another little bit of annoyance here, is the fact that he didn't get to hit the big ending on Lesnar.
No.
And also the fact that Lesnar pinned the champion.
Big E, it seems...
Like, you've got 3 other people in that match that aren't the champion that you could have easily pinned. KO probably being the main candidate to be the one.
KO or Seth, definitely, yeah.
But you decided to pin the champion.
Yeah.
And it just... And like I say, yeah, so Lesnar wins. Lesnar has won and become your WWE champion again. It's... After that massive absolute barn fire of a match, and I don't mean that in a bad way, I mean it was absolute chaos and it was awesome. Yeah. It's just, I'm not saying it's a bitter aftertaste because I've got some ideas going forward.
It was a shock and it just left me indifferent.
The main problem I've got with it is that this is at the expense of Big E. Mm-hmm. And that upsets me that they haven't really given him a chance to shine as champion before taking the title away from him. And again, he's the same as everybody else. Eventually, you will go down to Lesnar, and that's unfortunate. I didn't like that. Having said that, I've already got a plan in place of what I'm praying, and I pray that they do to bring this thing full circle. The only thing that's going to get left out of the loop of this potential storyline is the finishing off of who's Heyman aligning with. Because obviously I don't know how that's going to work now that he's champion elsewhere. Yeah. So maybe they'll have to leave it. I don't know, but...
That's the story going forward now, is that Heyman only aligns himself with champions. So he works for... Well, I would say he works for both, but Roman's fine.
I don't know how they're going to work that one. I really don't. But going forward, this is what I want. Now that Lesnar is champion, you can get Big E over and you can get Lashley what he wants. Mm. Lashley wants Lesnar. He wanted Lesnar. As soon as he came back, he said, that's one of the matches I want. They've clearly teased it in this match with the person that dominated Lesnar the most being Lashley. He's the one that hit him the most times and the most amount of moves. So that the Rumble, it's those two for the championship.
Lashley met Lesnar.
Lashley Lesnar at the Rumble for the championship. Lashley does not win, but he does get his match. Because that's all he wants. He wants a match with Lesnar one-on-one. And I want him to get that. He deserves that, and I think Lesnar wants it as well. Yeah. So let's give him that at the Rumble. That'll be a great match at the Rumble. I think that'll be really enjoyable.
I was going to say Mania.
But no, what you do, you have that at the Rumble, so not only do we get that match and everybody's happy, you have Big E win the Rumble. Keep him relevant, keep him at the top, because I don't want him doing the same as what they always do with New Day people, is just chuck them back down the card as soon as they're not relevant to them anymore. No, Big E's this big guy, he's a great character, everybody loves him, including Vince, so I don't understand why you don't want to push him to the moon anyway. Have him win the Rumble, and then it can be Big E versus Lesnar at Mania. I think that will be an awesome match.
I kind of agree, but I kind of would have switched a few bits around, because, if I was backstage back then, if they go... I would have been confused anyway of why is Lesnar winning? He weren't even going to be in this fucking match. Why don't you just stick with the original victor? He doesn't have to be pinned. So when he goes, you're going over Big E, I would have been like, why? Half of me is thinking, it's to get Lesnar over. It's like, he's over enough.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be over.
You could maybe not get Big E over, but you could keep him more relevant and more he didn't lose the title because he lost it. It was just a heartbreaking fact that someone else lost it for him. Why have you done it that Big E's the one to beat?
You could have had him pin Lashley, and that could have been your entry point for Lashley going, I want you at Rumble.
The fact that... Did Lesnar even get a move in on Lashley?
Yeah.
Did he get the F5?
I think he got the F5 on him.
Right. I was going to say, if it still works even if it was one F5. The look Lashley was giving him, they kind of focused on that. While Lesnar's there with the belt in his lap, Lashley's giving him that, fuck you kind of look.
Yeah.
To the point,
and they are slowly turning him face. They're slowly turning Lashley face.
To the point where they're definitely teasing that confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
I would be more like for Big E to come out and SmackDown like, congratulations, you beat me, during that whole clusterfuck of a match. I want a rematch at the Royal Rumble. They go to town with each other at the Royal Rumble. Big E proves his worth, but it's still like two titans colliding. And a distraction from Lashley just distracts Lesnar enough for Big E to take the opportunity, wins the title back. Because, like I say, if the original idea was for Big E to win the title, or retain the title anyway, it can just be like, well, we'll make this mini storyline in between the two. And then Lesnar's rivalry with Lashley will be like, you cost me the title, I want your ass at WrestleMania. Then Big E can go in against someone at WrestleMania as champion.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. Again, it still gives us everything that we want.
And I would love it if Cesaro won the Rumble.
That's the thing. It certainly depends. I'm fine with that switcheroo for my option if they pick a decent opponent for Big E. I don't, because otherwise it will just be Big E going against someone, and it will just be a match that will just not over the overall we won't really care about.
Yeah,
and I don't want that.
So
it has to be someone good. Like I said, if it's someone like a Cesaro,
yes,
then yeah.
I just think if there's any time a Rumble's got to have just an out of nowhere shock victor, it's this year. Just to keep people like the fans that have switched off suddenly go, hear that news and go, who won? Fucking hell, I've got to check this out.
Well,
you need to
apparently really high on that Bron Breakker guy from the NXT.
Yeah.
It's not long till he's getting called into the main roster. It would not surprise me if they bring him into the Rumble. If they really, really want to do it.
He's wrestling for the NXT title tomorrow night, so I think he's winning the title tomorrow.
Maybe, yeah.
But
true.
Another thing, which I was talking to our other wrestling fan friend Mark about what the hell they can do with Roman Reigns, because it's
because that's the thing. It's all left up in the air with him now.
Well, this was before.
Not that I want to keep seeing him and Lesnar go at it, because I'm bored of seeing them go at it. The only thing I wanted like an end for was finding out where Heyman's Lord is like. That's all I really cared about.
We were more worried about with day one. We were like, okay, if Lesnar wins, okay, that's a one way to kick off 2022, and it is kind of getting to the point now that I want Roman to lose the championship, but it needs to be to the right kind of person. But the problem we were talking about, like, he's gone through everybody. Who is left on the roster now?
That's the thing. Is like, this is the problem we're having now with the amount of people being released or leaving and not having many up and coming stars that anyone gives a shit about. Like I say, who's
believable?
The one, who's believable to take it from Reigns? Because you have built him extraordinarily well, which proves once again, as I've said a million times, you can do these long-term storylines and make someone a fucking animal, but they just choose to do it on one, maybe two people. So you have built him to this perfect crescendo that is coming up of who's the one to do it.
But if you don't even have the answer...
I just don't you can't just build up and go, it's going to be amazing when someone takes him out. Who? I don't know.
Because like you should know. If it's someone like Omos or Otis, they'd be like, get the fuck out of my face. Yeah. But
if it's Omos, and believe me, at this point, it would not surprise me if someone like Vince doing that. I think...
We're done,
basically. Yeah, I think that's my point of switching off.
Yeah.
Permanently.
But then I had maybe not a worse thought, but a thought where I was just like, oh God. It just hit me like a ton of bricks, like, it's going to happen, innit? Who's got one more match left on their contract? Who was meant to go against Roman at Mania 36?
Goldberg. Oh, fuck.
He's that kind of character.
No.
It's going to happen, isn't it?
No.
The only way I'd be okay with it...
No, I'm not okay with it. There isn't nothing you can tell me to make me go, yeah, I'll buy that.
No. The only way I'd be okay is that if it's meant to be Goldberg's last match of his contract, it means he doesn't win.
If he doesn't win, fine. But we know.
But still, I don't think anyone really wants to see Roman Reigns Goldberg at WrestleMania.
No, I don't want to see Goldberg wrestle anymore. It's different things that they're treating him like a Lesnar type. That when he comes back, it's a big deal and all that kind of stuff. But the difference is Lesnar can really put on an amazing show when he wants to. Goldberg is past it. He's a spot man. He's not a wrestler. He can't do what Lesnar can do. So stop pretending that he can just because he's that big guy. You've got to...
The only way I would have been more comfortable with it before day one happened is if Lesnar hadn't won this match And then when Roman's better, he's like, oh, well, we've still got a fucking a date, you and me, to fight again. Do it, Mania, but to avoid that whole Roman Lesnar Mania again, throw Goldberg in there if you must. Have a triple threat. At least it's like this is the biggest threat that could happen to Roman. Goldberg and Lesnar spot fest the shit out of each other, and it's that whole how the hell's Roman going to overcome this? And then you could even throw Heyman in that story arc of Roman actually almost groveling back to Heyman like, I need your advice on this one. And Heyman going, go fuck yourself and with Brock now.
Then at Mania screws them both over and goes with fucking Goldberg.
And
Goldberg wins.
Apparently backstage, him and Goldberg are like really tight, but I just do not see that on TV.
No,
it's a weird one.
No.
But, so anyway, we digressed a bit. But yeah, that was day one.
Yes.
So ratings.
Like I said, it wasn't a bad show. There was some really fun stuff in it. There was some good wrestling in it as well, and there was nothing actively bad. There was nothing truly awful. There was a couple of missteps, like I said. There was a couple of things I think,
It wasn't like there was a golden fucking egg involved.
No, like Botchamania with Goldberg or something like that. It wasn't like clearly the wrong decision to make someone champ. Like it was a controversial decision to make Lesnar champ. But if they do certain things that we're hoping they'll do, it might end up for the best.
It got the pop.
It got
Holy fuck,
it
did
got
it
the
get
pop.
the pop?
But it's hoping that they'll capitalise on that and give people what they want with it.
Yeah.
Rather than just doing it for the pop. Because then it becomes blatantly obvious, and again, you'll just make us not care.
It does kind of make things interesting on the road to the Rumble of like, because obviously Road to Rumble leads to Road to WrestleMania.
Yes.
So it's already got fans going, where are they going with all this?
Yes.
So they're creating the interest.
Yeah, there is a bit of a buzz there, and I grant that. So with that, I think I will give it a 7. I think that's reasonable. I don't think it's amazing, but it still entertained me. It still had some good wrestling. It still had maybe a controversial end, but an end that's giving you enough buzz or enough things to talk about and think, where do they go with this next?
Yeah.
And that's what intrigues me. And considering the fact that beforehand, I didn't even think that Lashley and Lesnar was possible within the next year, or Big E being around the Lesnar area, or even Reigns and Lesnar finishing up so we can fucking move on. But with one stroke in one pay-per-view from unfortunate circumstance, they may have been able to get themselves out of that hole and switch themselves into something that might, in the long run, be better for everyone.
In a weird way, it shows that when WWE are backed into a corner, they can pull something out.
They can come out swinging if they need to.
So
yeah, that's why I'm giving it a 7.
I think I'll give it a 7. I was going to go with potentially a half point more, but let's say the Becky Liv match was okay, but Liv is still screaming green to me. And not that the Madcap Moss and Drew match was bad, it was just, again, there was no point to it really. Yeah. So it was just like, all right. So yeah, 7. I think that's a fair rating.
I think that's fair.
So yeah, next will be
Rumble.
The Royal Rumble.
So that's 4 weeks away.
Yeah, so Saturday again, Saturday 29th.
Yes, which is good because that means we don't have to book a day off. Being in the UK, we don't have to book a day off to watch a pay-per-view.
I booked the tickets. We're going to the Leicester viewing.
Yeah, we're going to go Leicester this time for a change.
Why
Switch
not?
it up. So, I mean, we might be able to do the podcast Sunday evening. We're going to wing it.
We'll see.
If not, we'll do it on the Monday.
We'll see.
So, yeah, that's day 1 done and dusted. We'll see you in 4 weeks for the Rumble.
Bye all.
Bye.